Hi everyone and welcome to episode 1 of the Larger Than Life podcast. I'm Sarav.
And I'm Rory.
And just like every kind of pair of friends who've had one good conversation at the pub, we thought we'd start a podcast.
Absolutely.
So here we
are. We've got the camera, we've got the mics.
The boom stand,
episode 1.
Yeah. We're looking proper professional.
And before you ask, we do have a gimmick. Like every podcast, we've got a gimmick.
Every podcast needs a gimmick.
As the title suggests, Larger Than Life, we're going to be trying a new beer every week. We're going to review the beer.
Yeah.
But just to forewarning, it's not a beer podcast. We're not going to be talking about the beer for a whole hour. We're going to have the beer, discuss it very briefly, and then we're going to get into the main news of the week and just have a nice chat about all the happenings.
Yes, exactly. Literally just a bit of a catch up about what's going on, any up to date or funny topics that might be kind of in the news or just like gossip, really. And yeah, just kind of get into it, have those larger than life conversations that we really love and often have at the pub after one too many pints.
We love the pun so much that we decided let's just make this gimmick and we'll have a beer every time.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so we're going to do our best to keep you entertained. If you do like what you're listening to, we would really appreciate it if you left us a review or a rating. So you can find us on any of the platforms out there, so Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube.
And TikTok as well.
For
those people with short attention spans.
Exactly. Instagram as well. So if you're looking for our handle on TikTok or Instagram, it is largerthanlife_LTL. So do find us, follow us, and we just really appreciate the support. And feel welcome to share with your friends, your family, anyone who you think might find this somewhat interesting. We don't bite, we certainly don't discriminate. But yeah, without further ado, should we get into it? So what have we got this week, Rory?
So today we've got the Erdinger beer, brewed in 1886. It's a German beer. Let's try it.
Okay.
Bit of a warning. Forgot to put it in the fridge, so it's a bit warm.
Yeah.
But we'll give it a go, and if it's shit, it's our fault.
It's our fault. It might be a good beer. It might be a good beer. But,
well, let's cheers, mate, to episode 1.
Cheers, episode 1. Not a good start. I think it's all right, man.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice if it was cold.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's 5.3%. So it's pretty. Yeah.
It's a big boy beer.
I'll drink it. It's drinkable.
Yeah,
it's drinkable.
Yeah.
I'm more of a sort of basic bitch when it comes to beer. So this is a lot, but it's okay. I'll give it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's quite nice, to be fair.
Okay, nice.
What was that other beer that we had that tasted like baked beans?
Oh, it was Lef. We bought Lef. Yeah, it tasted baked beans.
It actually tasted the baked beans.
Yeah, that's not good. This is less like beans, I'd say. A hint of it.
Quite like it, man. I quite like it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it.
Cool.
That's the gimmick out of the way.
Yeah, cool. So,
Sarah, mate, how have you been? I haven't seen you since 2022.
Yeah.
What's been new?
Yeah, mate. So obviously Christmas, lots of family, lots of friends, lots of eating, lots of drinking.
Nice.
Then we go into 2023. I wanted to do Dry Jan, by the way, but then but we have a podcast called Larger Than Life, so I couldn't just have a non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah, it would be a bad way to start.
Yeah, exactly. So this is actually my first drink in 2023.
No wonder you fucking love it so much.
I just missed it so much. Yeah, but yeah, no, it's been a good year so far. Like obviously, as we've discussed, kind of everyone's in January mode at the moment. So same as me. Got my resolutions down, which I will be sharing. Just not yet. Maybe like a bit further in, because I want to try and
hold you accountable.
Yeah, because I want to try and stick to them first before I go bragging about how I'm gonna do. Yeah. Like change the world and.
I want to make $1 million.
Yeah, exactly. So let's just start with the humble January month first, see if I can get through it. But yeah, no, but I've noticed I've been going gym and stuff, and just the gym is so beginning of every Jan, people just come to the gym. And it's like all these people who you just know aren't going to stick around, and it's just jarring because they're using your machines incorrectly.
It's like a sense of ownership, isn't it? You walk in, you're in my gym.
It's my gym. Yeah, exactly.
I've started going in the mornings now because after work it's just impossible. Like you just can't. Oh, it's horrible. Yeah, it's otherwise you just may as well not go because it's just my gym anyway is a bit shit.
Okay,
there's literally no machines.
Well, what time are you going in the morning?
Luckily, my work kind of starts a bit later, so I can go for like 7:30.
Oh, that's calm. Yeah,
so and I can be like at work a bit later, and they've got flexi time, so it's
okay. Fine. Yeah. Fair enough. But yeah, no. So it's been good. More recently though, I went to I said I wasn't, because one of not resolutions, but I said I was going to be a bit more selective about when I go out. I didn't want to go out as much as I was kind of last year. It was just going out a lot, but did go out this weekend. So on Friday, went to Fabric.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, rave place, but it was sick, man. So we went for one of my mates, Darcy sent us basically just this like grime event in the group chat. He's just like, who's on it? And I was just like, don't really want to go out, but then need to kind of be interesting for the pod.
Yeah. We need content.
Yeah. Needed something to talk about. So we went to this grime event. It was hosted by Frisco. Bro, it was fucking sick. So like,
was any other BBK people there?
So like Frisco, Jammer, and then there's a couple of others who I don't know. So like, for those of you listening, I never really used to be into like grime and rap before I went to uni. So up until the age of like 19, I kind of was not against it. I just didn't really like.
We started uni 2016, which I feel like was like the peak of grime when it sort of finally got like really mainstream. Do you know what I mean? And like we were there when it was playing in the clubs and stuff like that.
Yeah. But yeah, so like I kind of only got into it more recently, or like kind of second year uni and stuff. So I'd never been to like a grime event before.
So good.
Bro, it was so good. It was so good. So they came out and did a couple of their like main songs, and then like the Chase and Status tune, "Funny."
Oh, I love that song.
Such a banger, yeah. So it started like when Frisco came out, it started with that, and that was sick. And then I didn't realize like what they do is they just kind of like play beats. So like Spyro was there, the DJ, and bro, they were just playing beats, and there was just so many different MCs coming on and just spitting, and I'm not gonna lie, just freestyling.
Really?
Bro,
I love that.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't have a fucking clue what anyone was saying because they were talking so quick.
It's just the flow, isn't it?
It was more the flow. Bro, someone come out and they were just like, at one point, one of the rappers' bars was tra-la-la-la. But it was so sick. It was so good. I remember thinking, that's so hard. In reality, it's a dead bar. But like, at the time, it was just hard. And like, that's the thing. Someone would come on and do a bit of a slow beat, and then the beat would change, and it would just be like, just like really, really fast. Yeah, it was hard.
I miss grime, because I feel like it had its heyday in the sort of 2016, 17, and then 2018 and onwards. I feel like drill became big, and just like the BPM of like UK rap kind of changed slightly.
For sure.
Don't get me wrong, grime's still around, but it's just not as big as it was, and I kind of miss it.
Yeah, I guess like music will evolve, doesn't it? But like you're right, I miss grime as well.
I hope it makes a comeback.
For sure.
Sounds like a fun night.
Bro, it was
why did you invite me? I would have gone.
No, I should have, man. But yeah, no, it was good. I thought you were still away, to be fair.
I probably was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But no, it was good, man. But I don't know why I didn't like it though. This is the thing, because like grime obviously came. So I used to love like raving, going to drum and bass events, and like
D&B and grime are kind of
grime came from drum and bass. So I think the way it went is like jungle came out, and then drum and bass came from jungle, and then grime came from drum and bass.
So they're all kind of relatives, kind of.
Yeah, because the beats are so sick. Like they're so hard, and but it was a motive basically. Really, really enjoyed it. It was really cool to see some of the younger MCs on stage as well, still doing grime, because as you said, it is kind of dying. But to hear some of the young G's kind of come out and spit, it was hard. I enjoyed it. Yeah. What about you? What have you been up to?
It's been good. It's been a busy few months. Obviously, Christmas came and went. Just drank like a fish and ate my body weight in cheese. So that was nice.
Cheese boards,
mate, so much cheese. And then went skiing in January, which was good. Went to a resort. Unfortunately, like the weather was not great. Like for the first 3 days, so there wasn't only 50% of the runs were open.
Yeah,
but still had a great time. And then the fourth day, you be careful what you wish for, because it was this fucking massive blizzard, huge blizzard, right? And I was with my girlfriend Kitty, and she's been skiing once before. Shout out Kitty. She's been skiing once before, so not the most confident, but she's good.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, we'll go on this chairlift and we'll go to this blue slope. And we ended up going on this chairlift, and I thought, I was reading the map and stuff. Go up, we're on this chairlift for fucking ages, and then I sort of clocked after 8 minutes. I was like, yeah, something's wrong here. Right, I was like, fuck. So we get to the very top of the resort, the highest mountain, right? And as we're getting higher, we basically enter a cloud, right? And I could not see the chairlift in front of me, right? And I'm there, and honestly, my gloves were already wet, right? And it was so cold that they froze. My literally gloves froze, and I couldn't wheel. And it was it was the coldest I've ever been. I was so cold. And I'm there next to Kit, right? So we arrive there, we get off. It's complete whiteout. You couldn't see anything.
What'd you do?
Look down, right? It's only red slopes, which is the third hardest slope.
Yeah.
Only red slopes. And Kit, who's not the most confident skier, and I'm like, right, we've got to get down. We literally have you can't go back down the chair. I was like, we've got to get down here. And honestly, it was the scariest thing. Like we were like going so slowly down this hill, you couldn't see in front of you. Yeah. And like Kit fell over a couple of times. Yeah. And then she was sort of like getting her ski, and I was there like trying to be as patient as possible. Like, I'm fucking freezing. So that was like, that was scary. But we made it down in one piece. That was all good. Yeah, fine. And then so skiing was good. And then had a trip in Amsterdam with work, which was really good fun. Okay, nice. Met some of the other country teams, which was really great. And Amsterdam's a great city.
It's a great city.
It's really nice, and it was really nice in winter actually, with all the lights and stuff. So it's been a good few weeks.
Work trips and no trips to any of the coffee shops.
No, not work.
Yeah. It's still like a really, really nice city. Obviously, really beautiful. I've heard the time to go is the spring.
That's the first time I went was in April and had like the best time. It was like perfect weather, not too hot. What I love about it, you just cycle around everywhere. You just bob it around, and it's just a lot of great.
It's cool. Yeah. Sorry, going back to your ski trip really quickly.
Yeah, go on.
No, because it just reminds me of this time, because when the first time I went skiing properly was when it was on the uni trip. Yeah. And remember some of the thing with just hopping onto the chairlift and thinking I'll just do a nice easy slope, and you realise you've hopped on the wrong chair.
Yeah. It's the worst feeling.
Honestly, it's the worst. You're thinking to yourself, how the fuck am I going to do this?
But skiing's hard when you've not done it before. It's really fucking. You just on your ass for days. It's really tough.
I feel like the way to not get hurt is to just kind of embrace the fact that you're going to fall over.
You've got to let yourself fall.
Yeah, because it's going to happen. But that skiing's so fun though. I really want to go again.
Yeah, 100%. It's made me want to go, because I've not been in ages, and it's made me want to go. I think we should do a big group trip. There, would be so much fun.
Well, the reason I love the uni trip is obviously skiing sick, but it's because of how many people and the social
and the après ski at the bar with the sun.
Are you
sun setting down the mountain? Yeah, it's great.
Bro, I remember the first time, because I couldn't really ski properly for the first 3 days to go up on the slope. Maybe the first 2 days, and then the third day was able to go down the slope, so I could finally go to après. And I remember going to après for the first time because people were talking about that it's sick. How good can it be?
Yeah.
Rolled over, I just hear Fisher.
Oh yeah, I love it.
I'm losing it.
Yeah.
And I'm just what the fuck?
That is so great.
Had my hip flask filled with JD honey whiskey.
Love that.
Yeah. It's motive. Yeah. I need to go back. But
we should get a trip in. We should book it.
How are we going to coordinate that many people? Remember, Avi and Neil were going to do. They were going to do this joint birthday thing. Their 20. One of their birthdays. Yeah. Had so many people planned. COVID hit. There was 50 people who paid deposits and stuff going. So it was literally going to be another move like that. But
yeah.
It is what it is, man.
It is what it is.
But
anyway, should we get into it?
Yeah.
Into main topics.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So obviously we had a few things to talk about. There's been quite a lot that's been going on recently. It's what I just I don't know. The world is just an interesting place. Someone's always doing something.
It's an interesting season of the world at the moment.
Yeah. Always. I feel like there's always something gossipy. What's going on at the moment? So obviously the year ended with Andrew Tate getting
arrested. Locked up. I think he's still arrested.
He's still arrested. Yeah. And then I've heard all these conspiracy theories, and then Vice released something about a rape accusation against him, and then leaked voice notes. Yeah, not surprised. Yeah. Not surprised either. But then whatever's all of that's kicking off. And then
the biggest topic,
the one that's been the maddest
everywhere, and this isn't just the UK, this is all over the world. I've seen it. Is the Prince Harry, or just Harry now, has released this.
It was
It was called Spare.
But wasn't it by? It was said by Prince Harry, no?
Yeah, he obviously had a ghostwriter, right?
Yeah.
But the release of this has been a fucking disaster. So obviously, for context, Netflix released their Harry and Meghan documentary, kind of gave their side of the story. Do you know what? It was pretty tame in comparison to what this book's talking about. But it was essentially a declaration of war against the UK press. There was a few revelations that came out. The main one being that the press office of the royal family was leaking stories to sort of tarnish Meghan and Harry's image. But then this book's come out.
Oh my gosh!
This book's come out, and the first thing, it got leaked 3 days before. So I
got sent the PDF.
Yeah. You know what I mean? The PDF was going around. So it got leaked. So that's the first thing that went wrong. But the content of this book, I was just baffled by it.
Yeah.
And I've not read it, so I'm maybe not the best one. But I've read the key takeaways from it. So the main stuff that's come out about it.
Well, I mean, I was, just to go off what you were saying, the hype for it was crazy. So when I was kind of, again, similarly to you, I haven't read it, but wanting to talk about it, I've heard all the snippets from TikTok and Twitter and stuff, and I couldn't believe the hype as well, because when I was researching it, apparently some bookstores were extending their hours to cope with the demand, and it's like now one of like the best sellers or something at the moment or something, which is crazy. I didn't realize that many people would be that into it, but I kind of get it, and I'm inclined to read it now just because of all the things I've heard. So yeah, the key things that came out were basically the fact that like the way in which he lost his virginity, that was a big one,
with an old woman in a field.
Yeah, who spanked his ass. So I've got some stuff on that.
Yeah.
Said he killed 25 enemy combatants in Afghanistan.
That's the sort of information you just do not disclose. If you're a public figure, don't disclose stuff like
and
that.
Like what did he say? He said something about how he took them out like chess pieces.
Yeah.
Like that's the way he was trained, and he was trained well or something. And what else? He talked about his recreational drug use. He did like cocaine when he was 17. He did ayahuasca.
He also talked about how that Prince William physically assaulted him in his flat, or in his apartment. He also talked about how Kate Middleton made Meghan cry because of the dress she was wearing.
Yeah.
He also mentioned that him and William were like super adamant about, they went up to Charles, they do not marry Camilla.
Her. They're like, cool, you're with her, but you don't need to get married again. And they spoke about the frostbite on his dick.
Oh my god, yeah. Have you seen the audio clip?
Nah, I couldn't.
No. So essentially, Prince...
Put this on my todger.
So Prince Harry recorded the audio for his audio clip.
That's too much.
And mate, if you listen to some of the snippets of this, you just can't take it seriously. How do you read it with a straight face? Like, it's mad.
No, exactly. I mean, so look, yeah. So look, the thing is, I think we're particularly like, just jokes to kind of hear. Like jokes or like just like weird, cringy. I don't really know like how to describe it as such, but like they got me thinking, what the fuck, basically. The what the fuck moments for me were obviously the virginity story.
Yeah.
And then also like this whole thing about how he used the Elizabeth Arden cream on his dick. What? Right? Because
why did the ghostwriter include that in the book?
Okay, yes.
This got signed off from Harry. Harry read this and said, yeah, that detail needs to be included.
Bro, let's talk about this, yeah? Okay, so, what's an autobiography? I googled it, because I wanted to make sure that I'm not crazy. An autobiography is an account of a person's life, right? And it's written by that person.
It's a biography, this book, though.
Okay, fine, biography is
autobiography is written from someone else's perspective about their life.
Now, autobiography is when you write it about yourself. A biography is when it's written by someone else.
I'll shut up.
So it's supposed to be like an account of your life, right? It's supposed to be written by a person. How to ghostwrite it, whatever, fine. Autobiography, whatever it is. So, Spare, the book, is 415 pages, and Harry's 38 years old. So that's an average of like roughly 11 pages per year of his life, right? So for me, in one's autobiography, it would be the key, like, character-defining moments, key things, interesting, funny stories, stuff like that, yeah? You see where I'm going with this?
Why is he including Why is he including the bit where he puts cream on his dick?
Right, because it's not just the fact that he spoke about putting cream on his dick and getting frostbite on his dick. It was from a trip to North Pole, I think. Pretty fucking cool thing to do.
Yeah.
That expedition. Yeah, he's had an interesting life. I'm going to give that to him. But he didn't just talk about putting this cream on his todger. Right. He also uses the todger. Yeah. Right. He said, and I think the quote is, he said that basically his friend recommended it following this frostbite, and that he said that his mum used it on her lips, and when he found a tube and opened it, and I think this is the quote,
mate, this is the bit, the
smell transported him through time, and he felt as if his mum was in the room. Now, why would you say that? Because
baffling. You can't absolutely baffling.
I just don't understand how someone would like happily kind of say that. Just put that out there, that association of when he was going to basically put something on his penis, right? How he would then like associate that with his mum, and why you would then like share that.
What confuses me is that, let's say the ghostwriter was writing this autobiography, wrote that sentence down, right? First drafts are always messy. I get it, right? But this book probably went through dozens and dozens of approvals before it was published. Yeah. And they gave that the okay. Like, it's just weird. The whole thing's weird, man.
No, I agree. But yeah, so going back to my point about like the whole character defining moment thing, I wouldn't necessarily say that's like, because this is what I was trying to say. I was having this conversation with Nikhil about this, yeah? I just don't think that needs to be in an autobiography, because I don't know what that adds. So, like, what does that give the public? Like, what kind of insight does that give to your life?
Maybe from his perspective, it's just like to show that I'm human and, I have these vulnerable moments, but I'm not defending this actually. This is weird. Yeah.
Are you sure that's the hill you want to die
Yeah.
on? No, but like, this is what I'm saying, man. I just don't get it. Like, why do you feel like you need to share that? Like,
for me, sort of a different point on this book is what I think the more problematic. Like, obviously, there are some weird details included in there. But what I think the worst thing about this book is the fact that I think he was paid 40 million, I think, for this book. Like, he paid a lot of money, and I get it. If you want to talk about your life and you want to talk about, the effects that Diana's death had on you, you want to talk about your relation, But the fact that he's dragging his family through the mud on this, he's saying stuff like, Prince William attacked me. He's saying stuff like, another one we forgot was, in his book, he said, Kate and William loved my Nazi Halloween uniform and they encouraged me to wear it.
Yeah, I saw that,
Just fucking have accountability and own up to you've made a mistake. Don't bring the whole book, from what I can see and from what I've read about it, is just dragging the family through the mud, and it's almost like causing as big a splash as possible. And I think it's backfired on Harry. I think it's actually kind of damaged his reputation quite a bit. And I think what's happened here is they've been offered large sums of money from Netflix. They've been offered large sums of money from the publishing house. And they've just chosen money over reputation.
Yeah.
And the whole thing to me just seems so hypocritical, because all they wanted was privacy and all they wanted was good press. Why are you making this documentary? Why are you making this book? Why are you dragging your family to the mud? Like, this isn't who. Do they not have a team who says do this or don't do this? Where's their publicist? Where's their manager? They must have people who are giving them the okay to do this.
Yeah. I guess they probably did, and it just kind of backfired. Unless you just overrode it. But okay, but here's the thing. Yeah, right. Again, I haven't read the book, and I want to put that in there. Yeah? Something that I did kind of deep, because there was some other revelations from the book which I found quite interesting. He spoke about the fact that he found out about Will and Kate getting married from the news. I don't know how true this is, but he says it in his book. Yeah. So let's assume everything he said is true.
Yeah.
He said he found out about Will and Kate getting married from the news. He said he found out about the Queen dying from the news and his dad becoming king, from the news. So all of this kind of basically, I can't lie, even hearing all this other stuff, he's a hurt individual. He's actually kind of had a fucked up life, and
oh, no doubt,
kind of shit. So maybe that I do sympathise with him quite a lot, because that he's been so ostracised by his family. Clearly, he's always shown. He's one of the reasons he was so liked by the public, or by me, for example. He was different.
He was more human. He always seemed a little bit more he was the party boy, wasn't he? And he was a bit more less of a robot than the rest of the family.
And I think a key theme of the book is that, obviously, maybe not key theme, but just something interesting, about him is obviously he was kind of quite hurt by his mother dying, as anyone would be. So I think the fact that he's spoken about all of this stuff is kind of maybe showing grief and stuff. Because imagine you're in a similar situation. Okay, going back to the Elizabeth Arden cream on the Willie. Yeah. Not Prince William, but Willie is in Prince Harry's. Yeah. You wouldn't necessarily be wanting to think about your mum in that situation, right? So he's kind of sharing the fact that he did. So whilst I thought it was fucked up, it's also kind of made me think, this poor guy, how traumatized must he be to have those thoughts while he's doing that?
So you think he included that to show the trauma that he's got?
I'm not necessarily saying he included that for that reason. Yeah. I'm saying that's maybe a way in which it could be interpreted, because no person, unless you're a sick individual who has those kind of ancestral thoughts, would want to think about their mum while they're doing that, right? No one would want to. So the fact that he did is obviously kind of, to me, showing some trauma,
showing that his mother's death permeates through all aspects of his life.
Yeah, and is even present when he doesn't want her to be, and that's kind of fucked as well. And just even the fact that he kind of found out about the Queen dying from the news, and Will and Kate, and then something else I found out was there was obviously this whole conspiracy about his mum having an affair with someone, and that Charles might not be the dad and stuff. Yeah. And then Charles making jokes. I
read that,
It's
that's tough as a kid.
I had this convo with my family, and my family were like, oh, you might have been just joking. And I was like, it's not really a funny joke to be talking about.
You don't joke about stuff.
You don't joke about, can't joke. Like, imagine if like my dad said like was joking like, "Oh, like I might not be your dad." Like, that's so fucked up. That's like, just not even
especially when you've got divorced parents as well.
Divorced parents, and this is all going around in the press, right? You're also kind of separate from society. You can't mix with people, so all you're surrounded by is just your family and then what you're hearing in the news. There's no like neutral aspect. That would be like kind of just everything that's going on in your life at the moment.
Yeah, you're true. That is true.
And so I don't know. I hearing about all this stuff like kind of I sympathise with it almost a little bit. And like,
because I feel sorry for them, but I just don't think their response. Like, what do you think of that? Their response of doing the documentary and doing this tell-all reveal in his book, which is a 4-book deal, by the way. But like, do you think they have, because of the trauma that Harry's gone through, he has every right to do this?
Yeah, he's got every right to share his side of the story, 100%.
Just dragging his family, like, I fight with my brother all the time, but if me and my brother were in public life, I wouldn't drag him through and like tarnish his reputation. It's like the book and the documentary are just the biggest bombs possible to like just basically just destroy the royal family. And I get they want to tell their side of the story, but it just the fact that they've been given hundreds, like probably over like so much money for this tell-all, it just feels to me like really ingenuine.
Okay, fine. So if we go back to what I was kind of saying, when you talk about character-defining moments, that's what I consider to be important in including in an autobiography, character-defining moments, important stories, like things that are noteworthy.
Yeah.
Clearly to him, that was something that kind of affected him a lot. Again, going back to my point about, you know, what it's probably like to be in the royal family. With us, we've got our family, we've got friends, we've got jobs, you know, we've got things that kind of separate us just from one thing. For him, his life was being in the royal family. Like, that, what else do you kind of really have? Because you're kind of limited on who you can socialise with.
Everything he has, and I get there are restrictions of being part of the royal family.
Yeah. But
you're born into a family where you never have to worry about anything ever, right?
Yeah.
You never have to worry about money. You never have to worry about like food. You're literally put on a pedestal your whole life.
Yeah.
And you and all your kids and all your grandkids are going to be sorted for the rest of their lives, right? The one condition there is that you just do your duty and you just stiff up a lip, right? And that, like, William also went through trauma. He's probably had a really trouble, but he's not doing like books and documentaries.
All right. Just to go against your point, I don't necessarily. Just a caveat, by the way, for the listeners. Everything I say, and similar to Rory, don't necessarily hold this opinion. It's more of a devil's advocate.
Oh yeah,
thing. But yeah, going back to your point, he had everything for him. Okay, what's the alternative?
Okay, can I tell you what I would do if I was Harry and Meghan?
No, go back to the original point.
What would be the alternative?
If you were born in the royal family, and you had the same things that you just said, everything's sorted for you, you don't have to pay for anything, everything's done for you, the only thing is you have to sip up the lip and kind of do your duty.
Yeah.
What's the alternative? Like, what,
what if you
don't want to do that?
Okay, no, this is what I'm saying, right? So I think Harry, I'm sort of in two minds of this, because on one side I do feel sorry for Harry and Meghan, and do you know what? If my wife was getting the onslaught of the press that she was getting back in 2018-19, I would also do the same. I would remove myself from the royal family, but I'd do it quietly, right? I wouldn't do this big splash. I wouldn't try and tear them down. I would just say remove myself, and I'd go quiet. I'd live in your LA mansion, and then people bring up the point of, but then their security. How are they get the money? And this is what it all comes down to: is they've accepted this big Netflix deal and this book deal because they need the money for security, right? I'm sure Harry was left a lot of money after the Queen's death. Her estate is something like £600 million, right? I'm sure he was left with something. Meghan, right? She did 100 episodes of Suits. She was paid $50,000 for every episode she did, right? Probably a lot more in the later seasons, right? Like, I think Prince Harry's net worth is 60 million. Hers is about 10 million, right? So I don't think money was ever going to be an issue with them leaving the royal family. And I think what they should have done is not taken the money from Netflix and the publishing, but I think they should have just left quietly. And, Meghan's got her podcast. Keep doing your podcast. Harry can do like interviews, or they could do, you know what, fuck it, become the Kardashians. Just do like a lifestyle documentary about them, their day to day, and people who really like Harry and Meghan are going to like following their lives. But I think what they've done is taken the path of most chaos, and they just caused the biggest splash, and they're just tearing their family down. I think it's really sad, especially in the wake of his grandma's death.
I think the way in which you're looking at it is like fair enough. You're talking about it just from like a family perspective.
Yeah.
But if you think about the institution of what the royal family is, if it has caused all the destruction and kind of disarray in his life, then like wouldn't you also kind of be bitter and feel like you'd want to tear that down? A lot of people have an issue with the royal family. And think,
I'd say majority of the country are probably pro-monarchy.
Fine, but a lot of people maybe feel like it shouldn't be a thing. You know, you're kind of born into like the most privileged position kind of possible, I suppose, to some degree. Yeah. But like, yeah, so obviously there's some kind of genuine disliking and hatred and angst and, you know, loathing towards the royal family for them to feel like they need to do this that goes above just the family ties. And in reality, there's probably loads of people behind the scenes of the royal family creating all of the chaos.
Well, the chaos of this book?
No, not the chaos of the book, but just the chaos in like Harry's life and like all of the negative
trying to make their life
stuff
as difficult as possible.
Well, yeah, just like
probably because in response to, like, I get the press office of the royal family. Without, like, I just think they just could have done it in a way. I think they could have removed themselves from the royal family in a way that both protected his reputation, because Harry's reputation is not in a good place right now, and also could have protected the reputation of the monarchy. And I just don't. This is
the point I'm making, right? So what if he doesn't want to protect the reputation of the monarchy? What if he's trying to expose?
No, but like it's had a reverse impact of what they originally wanted. Yeah. What they wanted was not to be attacked by the press, right? What the Harry and Meghan documentary in the book, right? What's it done? Do you think it's created more press animosity to them or less?
More.
Exactly, right. So you're moaning about something, but in the very thing you're moaning about, in the very platform you're moaning about, it's causing more of the problem you wanted to prevent in the first place.
What caused all of that initial stuff, like the negative stuff they were getting in the press in the first place, and what's probably causing a lot of it now? Probably all comes from the royal family. Think about how much like crap hasn't been talked about more. Like all the Prince Andrew stuff, that kind of gets dusted off in the press quite quickly. Who's got control of that? I don't know.
For the record, I'm not defending like the press office of the royal family.
Yeah,
I think don't get me wrong, the royal family shady as fuck. But I do just think the way that Harry and Meghan's gone about it, I think it's resulted in the reverse of probably what they did. Well, I think what they probably wanted was, oh, well, actually, Harry and Meghan, they're great. Oh, maybe we should all support them. But I think it's just had the complete reverse effect. And I think he should have rethought publishing that book.
Fair. I think we need to read it. I think genuinely, I think we need to read it. Maybe we both need to read it and talk about it again. Because, as I said, I genuinely, reading all the headlines only, I'm kind of starting to feel a bit sympathetic towards it. Because, like, yeah, as I said, like, imagine hearing about your grandma dying from the news. Like, what, your family couldn't call you? Or, like, just drop you a text or WhatsApp?
But bear in mind, the Queen's death was off the back of, like, Meghan going on Oprah and saying the royal family's racist, right? Which Harry's come out on another interview and said, oh, actually, we've basically retracted that statement that Meghan's made. So, like, although I don't agree, I think they probably should have told Harry, but, like, outside of the news cycle, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of it, but I mean, it's good that we both got different.
I do get what you're saying, but again, I don't know. I can understand from Harry's perspective the bitterness towards the royal family, the bitterness towards the institution of the monarchy, and yeah, I can kind of understand his motivations for releasing the book. I still obviously think some of it's interesting, weird. Some of it's really interesting though. I didn't think that, as someone who was a member of the royal family, he'd be able to lose his virginity in the way he did. I thought he would always be watched.
Yeah, in a field.
Because I always wondered that, how do royal family members kind of do they
I think a lot of royal family members are always out at sort of the elite class parties and stuff like that.
But are they not constantly being watched? Surely they're targets. Meghan talked about how she couldn't leave to go meet her friends. So this is what I was always thinking, normal developmental stuff, the first time drinking, your first time, your first kiss, when you lose your virginity, stuff like that. How does the royal family kind of do that? But clearly, go to the pub.
He wants to shag, he can shag.
You meet a horse lover.
Yeah.
Back in the field.
Yeah.
Go night spanking. But yeah, look, I don't know. I feel like maybe we should both read the book and revisit the topic. But it would also be interesting to see, his book just came out. It'd be interesting to see after a bit of time
where people
when it's digested,
opinions of
when more people have read it and stuff. probably by the time this podcast comes out, there might be like a different.
There'll be another 2 sequels to
like
extra spare.
yeah. Cool.
Should we move on to the next topic?
Let's move on to the next topic.
What have we got next?
Okay, cool. So it's something I saw on TikTok recently, actually. Something I saw recently on TikTok. It was a TikTok about something that happened in July 2022, so we're a bit late to the party, but I still kind of want to talk about it because I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
Basically, it was about how Google fired a senior software engineer because apparently they broke like an NDA or something, or like confidentiality agreement.
Right.
The software engineer claimed that Google had an AI chatbot or some kind of artificial intelligence which was self-aware and sentient. So apparently it had like an age of like a 7 or 8 year old and expressed like feelings of like happiness, sadness, like had consciousness basically. And basically I just thought it was quite interesting because the thing I wanted to say is I definitely think this is possible. So I think it's possible. 100%.
So you mentioned it 8 years old, right?
It had like
And does that imply that it's still developing as we speak, or is it capped at 8 years old? Because that's interesting. Because like, what if this fucking robot's like? What does it look like when it's in its mid-30s?
I've always said this, and I know that probably it's not like an unpopular opinion, but obviously it's to do with consciousness, man, and like actually consciousness is a bit of a deeper topic than people probably realise. So obviously, you know me, I used to love philosophy when I was younger.
Yeah, you were the philosophy king. You fucking loved it. Yeah,
I loved that shit. No, so obviously, if we talk about consciousness, I'll very briefly give an overview. You've kind of got two schools of thought, primarily. They dive into two branches, I should say, rather. Within each of the branches, there's various different schools of thought. Within the schools of thought, there's various different opinions as well. So I'll just give the headline topics. Two different branches. You've got materialism and dualism. So we talk. Sorry, to confirm, we're talking about consciousness here and people, right? So let's just talk about people having consciousness in the first instance, right? So obviously you and I are conscious, so we think. It's another topic for another another day. But so consciousness. So dualists believe that the mind, our consciousness, who we are, and the body are separate. So like your soul, for example. Okay. So like you might believe that your soul is completely different to your body. Right. And the materialists think it's all kind of the same thing. Okay. Your body and your mind, your body and your soul, they're all kind of connected. I'm going to use mind and soul interchangeably. So that's kind of the dualist thought. So for example, people who believe in reincarnation, generally speaking, are dualists because they think that when your body dies, your soul would get reincarnated into something else, right? Okay. So, on the whole, I don't really think too much about that stuff. I would say I'm more of a materialist, and more specifically, I'm more of a functionalist, right? So,
so what exactly does that mean?
So I might be completely wrong, and there might be some philosophy buffs who call me out, assuming we get any viewers whatsoever.
You were the philosophy king.
No, not at all. Assuming we get any viewers whatsoever. But basically, in terms of functionalism, what I believe what functionalism is that our consciousness is just a product of kind of like being. It's a product of like our brains and the neuron receptors, and neurons basically just like firing and receiving, and like just all of the connections in our brain, the hundreds of millions of connections in our brain that cause like the neural links and stuff. I believe that from that is consciousness. So consciousness comes like from that. So
from the
just from like my brain, all the activity in my brain. I just think that kind of from that, like consciousness kind of comes from that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's kind of my view, right? So if we now put this belief of mine into like the context of computers,
skin consciousness.
Well, yeah, computers are getting more and more advanced, right? So in theory, if you got a computer which had the same number of processors
and neurolinks,
and as like the same amount of processors in your brain, various different neurons like firing and stuff like that, equivalent to like information being sent, because essentially neurons
it's just information,
information, right? So if you kind of put that into a computer, had the same number of processors as I do like neurotransmitters and neuroreceptors, and they were just firing information to one another, in theory,
consciousness.
Yeah, so like obviously that's another argument in philosophy that people have kind of raised, and they will kind of be like, well, I wouldn't like to believe that like that would create consciousness. Kind of saying if you connected 100 million people via phone lines and everyone was talking, sending information to it,
could that be consciousness?
Would that be a consciousness? Like probably not. You don't want to say there is, but with a computer, I would say that potentially there is, because they're all kind of interconnected to one another. It's confusing.
I forgot how much philosophy we did the same degree at uni, but I forgot how much of a hedge fund philosophy is.
Yeah, it's confusing, but essentially that's kind of what I believe, right? So I kind of believe that if you got an artificial intelligence which had the same number of like processors as like processors, whatever, as like that in the brain, had the same amount of connections, stuff like that, like in theory that could create some kind of consciousness, or self-awareness. What's scary to me about like the concept of that computers having consciousness is that like computers are connected to the internet basically. Technology growth is exponential. If we had the same kind of stuff in us as a computer, so surely if we realised we were conscious and wanted to kind of become better, we could do that. Because we would have the information to be able to like, I don't know, like build stuff. With computers and stuff, you can literally add physical things to them to get a more powerful computer, right? So with an AI, you could add more physical things, and it could literally then become better, like smarter,
a better version of a human.
Yeah, 100%. So if you created robots, right, and they had the same like just their like stuff,
connected modifications, and stuff like that,
and they became self-aware, it's like if they've got arms and legs and stuff, they could fucking build more of their brains basically as well, and develop their brains to become like and then that would lead to a whole problem, because what this Google employee, from my understanding, was doing is he wanted to, and I might be wrong about this, but I think he was trying to opt for like some kind of legal representation for the sentient being, because to basically say that it should be recognised as a person, right? And I think that was what
and that's why Google basically finds.
I think so. I think that's what the leaks was. And I agree. Because if we do come up with robots who can like have their own consciousness,
creating another species.
Yeah, the biggest mistake. I keep knocking into this. The biggest mistake that humans would make, would be to not recognise them as equal beings. Because if you just get robots who are self-aware,
this is getting into like Blade Runner shit. This is like.
But do you see what I mean? Like, if you got computers who are like.
No, but then.
And you treat them
if we created advanced AI robots.
Yeah.
They could just overthrow us.
Exactly, so you can't treat them like
shit. If like an AI becomes sentient, more like what's the word? Have a higher cognitive ability than us. They'll look at it objectively and they'll literally think, well, humans are literally a drain on the planet.
Exactly.
Like,
they treated us like shit as well.
AI is dangerous. I think that you shouldn't be fucking with AI.
Yeah.
We should not be. Like, we're talking 5 years ago now, right? But in 2017, I don't know if you remember reading this article.
Go on.
But in 2017, Facebook had 2 AI like chatbots that spoke to each other, and they were speaking to each other, and it sort of developed, and we were monitoring it carefully. They ended up speaking to each other in a language that the people at Facebook didn't understand.
Yeah.
They were literally, and they completely shut it down because it was so scary, right? That was 5 years ago, right? So when you said this story now, I completely buy that. And it's probably, and if you think about the rate of technological advancement at the moment, it's a complete exponential curve. So I wouldn't be surprised if like AI is probably even more advanced than we even know, to be honest.
Exactly. Bro, within the same 100 years that the Wright brothers got the first plane to literally take off on the ground, within the same 100 years, people went to the fucking moon.
It's mad.
Within the same 100 years, that you could first at all master getting a plane off the ground to sending someone to the fucking moon. It's crazy. The technology is so expensive.
So I think AI will be. I mean, we've seen it with ChatGPT, right? Have you had to go on that yet?
I have actually. Yeah, have you?
It's mad.
It's so
like,
weird.
I was playing around with it, and
what did you get it to do?
So I think obviously if you could, like, the main thing it is, right, it's going to basically like kids. Fuck me, I wish I was at school when ChatGPT was a thing. Like those fucking history essays, right? I would love it if you just write, an essay about, about World War II and the main reasons why Hitler lost the war, right? And it will just give you like a perfectly worded, succinct, all the main points. and like you can even like it can incorporate different points of view. Like it is fucking advanced,
bro. Trust me. Yeah, no. Nick's did it and he types in like, "Oh, write me an essay on utilitarianism." It'll give a short. Apparently, it was really good. It was just short, but yeah, mate. One of my boys as well. I'm not gonna state who it is.
Yeah, go on.
He was just like, "Write me a message for Hinge, like an intro message on Hinge."
No.
Yeah, and it did. And he was like, "It's too tame because it was just like, oh, I really like your profile, blah blah blah." And he was like, "Write me a dirty message for Hinge," and they were just like, "No,
really, no,
we don't do that. We don't do that."
I heard my housemate Will. He was the first to discover it in our house, but he basically was sending all these messages on the WhatsApp. And he basically asked ChatGPT. He was like, "Write a slightly funny and ironic story about Dom Silcolt who revises in his bedroom too much." Dom's revising in his exams at the moment. It just honestly, ChatGPT fucking rinsed it out. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it just completely took the piss out of it.
That's so funny.
But I think what scares me most is like the more creative aspects of it.
Okay, go on.
Like, I was just having a look at like, oh well, write me like a 2-page outline of a story about X and X, right? Just to sort of see like, can it be like, obviously it's all technology, but can it be creative? And some of the stuff it was coming up with was like, shit, that's quite an original idea. But it's just getting information from all parts of the web. And I think and you must have seen like AI music as well, right?
Oh, I think I have.
It's like Travis Scott songs. It's like AI Travis Scott songs. They genuinely like sound pretty good. I'm like, if Travis Scott released that tomorrow, I'd be like, oh, it's a decent single. But like that's what worries me is that like, what if the creative industry gets wiped out?
I was going to say like
AI can just make.
Well. Have you seen that
AI
art?
Yes, that's like, fucking weird as well.
Like,
yeah,
show me what it would look like if like the world was going to end or something. Show you like this incredibly generated images.
Yeah.
That's quite interesting though. So like, a bit of philosophy of art stuff now I'm doing, but like, I don't think that would happen.
You don't think it's going to affect creativity at all? What if in 5 years' time it was even more advanced?
I don't think it would replace it entirely. Maybe like beat production, perhaps a little bit.
But if you think about, sorry to interrupt. If you think about like what like creativity is, no one's ever had an original thought, like a completely original thought.
No.
Or I'm sure you've had it in your creative endeavours, and I've had we like music and stuff.
Yeah.
Everything you have is like a frame of reference, right? Yeah. And what you do is you don't create original stuff. You basically just joining different ideas together until it basically becomes its own original idea.
No, for sure.
And that's probably what AI is doing. It's reaching from all these different, but it's got a way bigger reference point than what we have, right? So is that not basically the same thing as creativity? If an AI is doing it, what's the difference if a sentient AI is doing it and if a human's doing it?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is what we're talking about. Literally, is philosophy of art stuff. But no, I think one of the beauties of like kind of creativity and art, as it were, art, we're talking traditional art like painting, creations on like iPads or sketches and stuff, music, whatever, however you'd like to define art. I think a big part of that comes down to like intention. Like, what makes something interesting is like kind of the story behind it a little bit,
and what experiences you've drawn.
Yeah, for sure. Because like someone might like an AI. Okay, so like if you had the Mona Lisa painted by Leo da Vinci.
Yeah.
And then you got someone who did a like for like creation of that, a copy.
Is
exactly the same. Like which one has more value? Like you want to say the Leonardo DiCaprio one, right? Yeah. You want to say that, but they look the same. They are the same. So what gives it that?
The only difference is intent, basically.
The only difference is intent. The difference is intent. The difference is, someone behind it doing that, creating that.
But if a sentient AI is
a sentient AI could be different
than just AI.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's important to make the distinction. So if an AI makes it, is that not with intent?
It is. It is.
Because if it's original, it's not a copy of anything.
It's just hard. It's a hard one, right? It's a hard one. Because you almost want to reward. What? Okay. Yeah, it's a hard one.
I genuinely think we're going to get to a stage.
But do you think we're going to get virtual people who are like genuinely sentient and like they're real? Fuck. So like in the metaverse, for example, you could literally have someone
completely sentient, you only live in the metaverse.
And in theory, they can die because they can be their processes can shut off.
AI
it's scary, isn't it?
Yeah,
but like that could be a thing.
Do you think that? I mean, just in the last couple of months, we've obviously seen AI sort of hit the mainstream almost. Right?
Yeah.
Do you think there should be a point where humans step in and we say, right, that's enough?
Yes.
Because obviously for years we've just been letting technology get better and better and better, and AI has been getting better and better and better. And I know, Elon Musk's come out and said it's a really dangerous, dangerous technology. At what point do you think humans need to step in and say, right, we can't progress this any more than we already have?
In reality, we're probably past that point.
You think so? I guess if we were getting sentience, then. See, I think sentient that we should shut it down before it gets to that.
That's what I'm saying. So clearly, we've obviously passed that point, and there's so much shit we probably don't know about. As I said, this guy got fired because he leaked confidential information. But bro, 100%, as I said, we don't stand a chance with someone who can. I mean, obviously, humans don't stand a chance with something that is able to evolve by itself in its current state. Imagine if I could just grow 5 inches taller, get wham,
that'd be nice.
Yeah, it'd be. I'd love it. No, bro, I'd love it. Yeah. But the point is that it's dangerous. It's scary. That gives you an advantage over everyone else. In the same way, AI and technology can do that as well, because they can just build more components of themselves, become more intelligent. They can. I don't know, bro. It's scary. So yes, I do believe there is a point that we need to stop.
But we've probably already passed it.
Yeah,
so
we're
that's
probably
great.
past it. And it's only with certain types of technology, that kind of stuff, the AI stuff. There's other stuff in technology which can still be obviously beneficial to us, and we should continue to develop.
I just had a thought actually. Obviously, I don't want to stay on this talk too long because we've got another thing to talk about. But if you created AI, right, and they were sentient, but they were purely used in the military, right? So you've got sentient AI robots who are, as you said, modified to be the genetic peak, right? Yeah. And they were just used in just for military purposes. Do you think that's morally wrong?
Was it Area 41?
Area 51. No, that's aliens. That's different.
It's not just aliens. I bet you.
Do you think it's AI and stuff? I thought Area 51 was just alien technology and stuff.
Military secrets and shit. 100%.
But that would be interesting if they used. I wonder if they're sentient though. That's
what, using them in the army and stuff. Yeah, I mean, no, but I don't. I'm just not into war. Do you know what I mean? So that creates its own topics. It gives certain countries an advantage over others as well because they have access to
I'll bet you the government's working on that.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, if you think about a remote warfare became a thing, just
that's true.
Drones
and stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of fucked up. That gives someone such a huge advantage.
Yeah.
If you're able to drop a bomb from a drone and just complete an airstrike where there's literally no risk to individuals, it's messed up. I guess if it's robots against robots, I don't know, man.
We can talk about this for hours.
Yeah. It's getting a bit too.
Get on to the next topic.
Yeah, let's talk about this one. This was a fun one. Bro, I have some thoughts on this one, and I was so conflicted in my head when I was thinking about this topic. I was going back and forth. But mate, okay, Kim Kardashian, Northwest TikTok.
Oh yeah, I heard about this.
Bro,
yeah.
Okay. Firstly, they've got a TikTok,
yeah.
And some of it's quite jokes, I'm not gonna lie. It comes off on my For You page every now and again, but there was this one.
Is this a TikTok of Northwest?
So they share a TikTok account
of Kim.
They both, they both do one. But bro, there was one that came out and it was literally just sent me, because I didn't even see the original one first. I saw a react to it at first, and I was like, what is this shit, man? So it was the TikTok, and I'm sure people, if anyone at all is listening, I'm sure they'll know what I'm talking about.
So all three of you listeners.
Oh yeah. 3 is a bit optimistic.
Yeah.
Us two, and then your girlfriend probably. Bro, it was the one where they did that lip syncing. So it was the one where West put on North. Was that North? When North put on that makeup or used that filter to look like Kanye, and then Kim was there, and they were
Bound 2, isn't it?
The lip syncing to Bound 2. Bro, I was spun. I was like, what the hell is going on? Because firstly, It made me fancy Kim K way more.
Wait, I think we've had very different reactions.
No, because she looked hot.
Okay, right.
Yeah, she just looked hot, and like, you know, Kim K.
Good looking girl.
Oh man.
Yeah.
My type. Kim K for watching.
Kim K knows. Avid subscriber of Live.
No, but bro. Yeah, so I mean, I watched that, and then it made me think of like the original music video where she's obviously naked.
She's naked on a bike.
Yeah, and she's just lying. But yeah, just made me realise I have to find a Kim K lookalike, but with a banging personality.
I do not just think though, like the whole scenario is really bizarre.
Sorry,
on quite a few levels. It's like the first one is, first of all, Kanye West, Kim Kardashian have split up, right? So the first level it's weird. It's the more surface level is they're lip syncing to Bound 2.
Yeah.
Within the music video, she's naked, topless, and straddling Kanye West, right? That's weird. How old is Northwest? She's probably like 10 or something, right? That's weird, right? The second way it's weird is Kim Kardashian and Kanye West have split up, right? Yeah. So it's weird to put a filter on of like your dad who split up, but when you're in the room with your mum. But then also it's weird because Kanye West is having a mental breakdown now, and it's almost like rubbing it in. It's like rubbing it in.
Yeah.
Like, I think last I heard he was missing, but I've sort of stopped following what's happening with Kanye West at the moment. But the biggest reason that I think it's awful, and I think Kim Kardashian should be ashamed of herself, is Kanye West on numerous occasions has said, "I do not want my kids on TikTok." Right? He doesn't want them sexualized, and she's there wearing lipstick, right? And she's there, and it's like Kim Kardashian is flaunting her daughter to like almost rub salt in the wound of Kanye West. And it's like, it's all well and good going against Kanye's wishes and having North on TikTok, but then for her to have a filter on as if they're both laughing at him, it's just weird. I don't know. What do you think,
bro? I've got like literally, I went through the same thought processes. So obviously, I said the stuff, but about Kim K because like I do find them. But anyway, look. So obviously, looked like Kanye. Then Kim's putting her arm around North. In the video, a little bit. In the TikTok, it was a little bit like sexual as well. The way in which she kind of like slung her arm around North. It was, as you said, reminded me of the video where she's kind of being super sexual with Kanye. Yeah. Weird. Kind of don't do that with your kids at all, right? So that was odd. But then, similar to you, felt to me like they were mocking Kanye. Fully did, because like they're split up. He's obviously off his rocker at the moment,
going through a mental
breakdown. Just going through some shit, and then she's out there just kind of like mocking him basically. Like, why did she choose that song, making the daughter dress up like her dad or use a filter? Weird, and wrong to be fair. But then here's the thing: part of me is kind of a bit like, does he deserve it? Now listen to me on this, bro. He has lost. He's off his nut at the moment. But look at all the harmful shit he's doing, right? Got banned on Twitter for making all these anti-Semitic comments. Then he comes back and he starts off by saying shalom, right?
Yeah.
Mocking the Jewish community. Then, did you see the clothes he released?
The clothes?
Bro.
What, just recently?
You didn't see the clothes he released?
No.
Fam? He made clothes.
It wasn't a swastika on it.
It was a fucking swastika.
Fuck off.
It was a swastika.
Sorry, we're talking the last week he's done this.
Not in the last week, but like,
oh my God.
I'm sorry. I need to show you the...
So this is after he went on the Alex Jones and said he liked Hitler and all that stuff?
Bro, yes. Not that. Oh, it's not available. But you can see the little...
Oh my God.
I don't know if that's real, but like kind of seems like the kind of thing that Kanye would do.
Okay,
really, but
he's really in his Nazi bag.
Bro, this is what I'm saying. And it's like, part of me kind of feels like, I don't know, I feel very confused at the end of the day, right? Because Kim K's kind of out of pocket for posting that. She's kind of mocking, you know, as you said, Kanye's expressed that he doesn't want his kids to be on TikTok. He's also definitely hurting about the fact that he's not with her anymore. And she's gone, you know, think about all the shit that he was going through when, like, she was dating Pete Davidson. And he was, like, sending Pete Davidson, like, messages and stuff and talking about how he hates Pete Davidson. Did he mention Pete Davidson in the song lyric?
Yes,
he did, didn't he? So he was gonna like
just knock him out with the game, and then the music video was just like clay animation of Pete Davidson and Kanye, and like they basically beat him up and they bury him alive, and it was really fucked up.
So Kanye's obviously hurting about all of this, right?
Yeah.
then Kim's like coming around, being all sexual around her daughter, who's dressed like Kanye. Yeah, literally rubbing salt in the fucking wounds. But Kanye's an arsehole.
So on that logic, do you think that because Kanye is saying all these horrible things, and he has in the last year he's behaved awfully.
Yes,
right? I think we're both in agreement.
Yeah, fully.
But I think, despite how awfully you behave, right? I think how you behave in the public eye and what you do in your personal life is very different to the relationship you have
outside of that
with your daughter. Yeah. Right? I think as a father, no matter whether you've been in prison for murdering people, whether anything you've done, I think you have a right to talk, like you have a say in how your kids are raised. And I think if he
disagree,
really
don't necessarily.
See, I think. Listen, I like his music, but I'm not a Kanye West apologist. Like he's obviously, I think he's going through a bit of a mental breakdown. But I do think that if he doesn't want North on TikTok, I don't think North should be on TikTok.
But that's only because you agree with that opinion that TikTok's not safe for a kid's place. Because let's go back to what you originally said. You said that you think that regardless of what a person has done in their life, they should have some say in how their child's raised.
As long as the bad things they've done don't direct to the kid.
But I disagree.
So you think that because of the stuff that Kanye West has said?
No, I'm not necessarily talking about Kanye here. I just want to put that point that you've made, and I just want to express my agreement with that, bro. Rapists and murderers, bad people. Why should they have a say over their child? Like, clearly their morals aren't right. Again, this is devil's advocate.
Yeah.
I disagree, but that's not going to make it.
Okay, yeah. Obviously, okay, maybe, I think I said murderers earlier. That's a good point. I'll retract that.
Yeah.
But I think...
willing murderers, not necessarily people who've murdered someone, like, in a reaction to something.
That's what I more meant, is people who are maybe involved in...
like a Ted Bundy? That's what I'm talking about.
No, I'm not talking about Ted. I'm not talking about, like, serial killers. I'm talking about people who are, like, I don't know, might have been involved in gang warfare or something like that.
I get what you're saying. But, like...
Okay. Bro, what I'm trying to say is... Kanye, like, by all accounts, Kanye West has been a good father, but maybe not so good in the public eye. Okay. I don't think his reputation in the public eye and the things he said, that I don't think that should detract his right to dictate how his kids should be parented.
I'm going to press you more on that though, man, because like what you just said, the point about TikTok, about how if he doesn't think that his child should be on TikTok, then she shouldn't be, or he should get to have that say, that should be respected. But you don't know all of the views that he's tried to espouse on his child and how they should be raised. You picked a point that you just happen to agree with, which is fair, and I also agree with you that TikTok's not necessarily a place for children. But that's one point of many things that we have no fucking idea about. Also, if that goes against maybe what Kim K is trying to say, why should Kanye get the siding? Don't forget, Kim K's whole fame is built off being an influencer. Yeah. That is likely the route for someone like North. Not necessarily, but likely that will continue to be the case. You know?
But so TikTok's age, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's 16.
I don't know, but yeah.
Well, maybe we need to look that, but I believe it's 16, right?
Okay.
North's not 16
Fine.
yet, right? I'm not saying that North should never be on TikTok,
Fine.
Right? She should when she's of age,
Fine.
Right? And what Kim is apparently it's a joint account, and she, controls how much North is on it and stuff like that. But ultimately, if the father really, really expresses concerns about his daughter being on TikTok, then I think Kim should respect that. Not only has she gone against what he said, but she's used a filter of Kanye West on, like, it's a slap in the face.
That is.
And obviously it should be something they discuss between the two and have an agreement about. I'm not saying that just because. Sorry, we've got some sirens in the background, guys. But yeah, I think
studio life.
Yeah, it shouldn't. I just think it just seems like a slap in the face to me. And I get it should be an agreement between the two of them, but from what I can see, it feels like Kim Kardashian doesn't agree with Kanye West, and they thought, this will put salt in the wound for Kanye.
I'm torn still.
I mean, it is a slap in the face, you admit. And
yeah.
To be honest, I think a lot of the
some people deserve a slap in the face.
I think a lot of the stuff that Kanye West has come out and said, right, is awful.
Yeah.
Right? And he deserves to be deplatformed, but I think he's going through an absolute mental breakdown. I think no sane person has ever would be doing what he's doing right now. I don't think he knows.
So would you maybe
I don't think he knows. I think he's in such a delirious. And we've seen him have mental breakdowns before. I think he's in a delirious state where I think he should be held accountable. But right now, I think he's in a mental breakdown, and I don't think Kim Kardashian flaunting her daughter and Kanye West's daughter on TikTok with a filter of Kanye West is a wise decision.
Okay, fine. So you think Kanye is potentially insane?
I think he's going through a manic episode, yeah.
Okay, fine.
Much like he did when he was saying that slavery is a choice and all things like that.
Yeah.
So and he's saying things in a shocking way. I just think he has beliefs, but he's not saying them in the way he's saying them in a shocking way, but not formulating his opinion in a way that he should. Okay. I'm not defending Kanye West, by the way.
No. Yeah,
I personally, I'm completely theorising, but I think he's just going through a complete manic episode. Yeah.
I think all the more than that, then he shouldn't get a right to say. So yeah. Again, I'm just making. Yeah. I'm just trying to.
It's good. I didn't think about this. To be fair, it's a good point. It's a good point.
Yeah.
Can he be a good parent if he's going through these manic episodes?
I think one can be, but you've also got to question it when they are publicly, hating.
Yeah.
It's almost committing hate crimes on the cusp, if not saying anti-Semitic stuff. Like, you got to kind of question that and think, should this person have the right to have an influence on, what's going on?
On kids.
Yeah, of course, of course. You wouldn't trust like a crackhead to raise their child. Yeah. Yeah. So.
You know what? You've really stumped me here,
Sarah. No, I'm just because like kids are taken away from.
Yeah.
And if you think of even like adoption and stuff, parents have to go through an awful lot. And just a quick got a bit of a side note entirely, but that's another thing. Yeah. Adoption. This is something that baffles me. Yeah. There's so many like trials and like various procedures in order to adopt. It's really hard to adopt. You have to show. I'd say it's hard. You have to show that you're like a good person. You're not going to abuse the child, stuff like that. Yeah. You have to essentially go through all this rigor and tests to adopt a child, but you don't have to do any tests to become a parent. Anyone can become a parent, but not anyone can adopt. Don't you think that's kind of fucked?
That is fucked, but I think the difference is with that is that anyone has the right to reproduce and be a parent.
What if you physically can't?
If you physically can't.
Yeah. So why is it fair that like someone who's not going to look after their child?
Well, one of them is just like probably more of a governance issue. Like how do you monitor?
I agree. I'm not necessarily saying one can change it.
And I think it's a good point because there are a lot of people out there who have kids who probably don't have the values or the skills to be a parent, right? But I think to look after someone else's kids is a different matter to having your own kids.
But looking after someone else's kids from an adopted parent's perspective, not their own.
And I think the other thing you've got to take into account is when you're adopted, you take on some issues, right? Like when you find out that you've not like anyone who's been adopted, likely that there's a bit of baggage there, isn't it? You're finding out that your parents are not your real parents, and that coming to terms with that, right? And I think you can't just have anyone off the street be like, I'll parent this one. You need to. I want to double. And I think that's why this process is in place is to make sure that kids who don't have parents, orphans, are looked after in the best way possible.
I absolutely agree with you there, that there should be various, but I'm just saying like the fact that anyone can reproduce is kind of fucked as well, right? Like
then you're in a slippery slope of like.
But yeah, this goes back to the whole why the abortion like laws in the US are so fucked as well.
Yeah.
Then it means that people who
aren't prepared to be parents
genuinely feel like they're not going to be good parents have to be parents. And like
agree.
It'd be kind of more like not interesting. That's the wrong word, but like imagine if there was like kind of like a parent license.
God, imagine that.
Yeah. So like,
if you got your parent ID.
Yeah. And like, if you didn't, you wouldn't necessarily get forced adoption. Forced abortion. You kind of have the option to say like, you're either abort this baby or kind of like have to give it up, or you have to show that you're going to be able to be a good parent. And I'm not talking about finances there. I'm just talking about mainly child abuse.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's such a big like issue and neglect. So not necessarily physical abuse, but emotional abuse as well. and again, devil's advocate, I don't necessarily hold this opinion. I'm just saying, wouldn't that be like a thing? Like, let's don't cancel me before I even started.
We'll put that one bit out.
But all interesting.
But yeah, guys, just to point out, if there's, we'd love to get your opinions on these topics. Email us. What is the email address, by the way?
DM us.
DM us, yeah. Instagram.
Instagram.
DM us what you think. Like, what do you think about Kim K?
Logan_life_22.
Thank you very much. Tell us what you think about Prince Harry, and tell us what you think about AI, and does it freak you out as much as it freaks us out?
No, for sure. And I think I just want to mention something, like just a personal aim of what I want to get out of this podcast.
Go on.
And what, like, we love having these conversations. Oh, let me finish. But love having these conversations with Rory. But kind of what I wanted to get out of this podcast is I want to just create an environment where we're talking, we're having these conversations, and you guys listening feel like you want to join in as well. And like you want to say points, and you want to basically tell me that I'm being stupid or that Rory's being stupid, and like that's the whole point. It's just like
if there's something that we didn't think about, angle,
please
let us know.
That's what I want.
Stupid.
If you're listening, like I'd hope you kind of feel like that, and feel like you want to join in, or you feel like you've got stuff to say. So please do. We might revisit old topics, kind of going forward as stuff evolves in the news or whatever.
Yeah.
And like shout outs every now and again.
And we're probably going to hear more about Kanye West.
Realistically, that guy just lives in the news at the moment, to be fair. They say he's missing.
He's missing, last seen in Siberia.
Bro, I saw some funny TikToks about
Is he, because I've been sort of off social media this month, but
I've heard rumours.
Where is he? Is he still missing?
Apparently he's missing, but apparently he's also living life, just chilling kind of thing.
He needs to just radar. Just, like, delete social media.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think
do you want to move on to recommendations?
Yeah, let's do it.
So this segment, we're just going to talk about, it could be films, it could be books, it could be music, it could be TV shows, and we're just going to just chat about what we're watching, what we're reading. Sarah will recommend stuff to me and vice versa, and we'll just it'd be great to hear what you guys think as well. But my first recommendation.
Go for it, man.
This is something you told me to watch a couple of months back.
Oh, swear.
I finally watched Wednesday.
Oh, you finally watched Wednesday.
Watched it.
Go on, hit me, man.
I know you loved it. You were over, and do you know what? I did really enjoy it. Like I remember watching the trailer and thinking, interesting, but not my kind of thing.
Okay,
it's very like YA, young adult sort of. It's not like I'm not the target audience for it. But
just a caveat. Sorry, I did love it. But I also said I thought there were some inconsistencies from the show, so I'm excited to hear what you've got to say. Yeah. And there's going to be spoilers.
Yes, spoilers to it. I mean, it's been out for a couple of months now, but spoilers. But if you've not seen it yet, or you're still watching it, we've got chapters in, so just skip to the next topic. But finally watched Wednesday, and I started watching it, and I was like, you know what? I like it, and I think the best, I think, I'm not sure if you agree, but the absolute best part of the show is 100% Jenna Ortega as Wednesday.
Oh wow!
There's overnight become an absolute superstar. She's on every chat show. Like that TikTok dance in, I believe it was episode 4. That's like obviously taken off massively. But she just brings so much to the show. Like all her like really sarcastic one-liners. She just delivers it so well. And she's got a really great like screen presence. So like when she's on screen, you just like she's just great. Yeah. She's just like really hilariously written character. But yeah, and I enjoyed it. I watched all of it. Like my girlfriend and I like had a good time. And I think the main reason it's the number 1 rated. It's not the highest, not the most watched Netflix show. That goes to Squid Game, but it's the number 1 English speaking show. So it's done super, super well. But I think the reason it's done well is because it is essentially a Gen Z Harry Potter. I don't know if you saw this. You've seen Harry Potter, right?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a Gen Z Harry Potter.
It kind of is,
And a couple of episodes in, it suddenly clicked for me, and I was like, and I think the reason it's done so well is because it's Harry Potter for the new generation. But for me, that's also in a way kind of the weakness of the show. And the thing I would say took me out of it a little bit. It's a couple of episodes in, I was like, this just is Harry Potter. Like it is beat for beat the same thing, right? So if you think about it, right? So the main comparison to make is Nevermore is the same as Hogwarts, right? That's easy. But then you get into the stuff of, the Outcasts, which are all these sort of magical, werewolves, and they're the sort of wizards. and then they call them the normies, and that's basically muggles. Right? There's obviously like the main like if you take the first Harry Potter, right? What's the main story? They're trying to figure out, who released the cave troll, who the main villain is, right? And at the end, you get that big reveal. It's Professor Quirrell, and he's got the Voldemort at the back of his head. You remember this one? It's the same thing. It's a mystery. It's her trying to find out, right, who's the main villain, right? There's a Dark Lord. There's Joseph Crackstone is Voldemort, right? Yeah. Wednesday is like the chosen one. She's there to like stop him. That's the similarities there. At the end, it ends up being the sort of timid teacher who ends up being the villain, who's Professor Quirrell, who I can't remember her name now, but she ends up being the villain. The other one as well I noticed was, the scene where they're in the rowing boat. So they're doing like a house competition and they're sort of against each other. That's just fucking Quidditch. Like it's and it ends up like the houses go against each other. Like it is just hands down like Harry Potter. And I think and it maybe it's just my fault because I just overthought it too much. But I was watching it and I was enjoying it. But every episode I was like, that's Harry Potter. That's Harry Potter. And like I think it was original enough that I don't think it was a blatant copy. But I think the parallels were just a lot, and by the end I was like, this is very much.
I think that's a really interesting observation. Where I didn't personally.
Did you not clock that?
That. Okay. And that's why I love hearing your insights on like film and TV because I know you're like you stuff.
Yeah, TV, and I'm a content whore basically.
Yeah.
What was your like takeaway from it?
I just thought it was a bit like I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great watch. I just thought like parts of it were a bit inconsistent. Like
what bits?
I won't ever stop talking about this, but just like when she got gassed at seeing Uncle Fester and like she smiled.
Oh yeah,
and I was like,
that's quite nice.
Overdone. Really? Bro.
So you think she sort of broke
Come on, massively. Like it was a fuck up by the network station, in my opinion, or whoever produced it.
Netflix.
Bro, Netflix. Yeah, it was a fuck up. Sorry, bro. But it was a fuck up, in my opinion, because like she never smiled, and then she still got vexed at Uncle Fester, and she never like he was a jarring character.
I always thought that was like when. Oh, so you thought his character in general annoyed you a little bit? Like,
not a little bit, but I didn't think they necessarily had the most unbelievable relationship where like she should smile like that.
Really? Okay, so that's interesting. Because I saw a TikTok and it was like, oh, how nice is this? That like the only person she ever smiles for is Uncle Fester.
But they weren't even that tight.
And it kind of shows their like relationship with that.
They didn't even seem that tight.
Yeah, it's true. They didn't like.
Also,
that much
if we talk about his character as well, how inconsistent was it with like the kind of stuff she likes and dislikes? Did you see the kind of stuff he was driving and like, that car made her wear the hat? She didn't show any resistance to kind of just going along with like
his plans.
Yeah, his plans. And they were like made her look ridiculous.
So you thought like
and her character stood against all of that stuff. She used to wear black and try and stay like
I know what you mean. Yeah.
And then also like right at the end of the show where it was made to seem like, oh, look how amazing and clever she is. She worked out like who the person was. She got it wrong twice.
That's the other disadvantage I have about Wednesday.
Yeah,
I think she's a great character.
Yeah,
I don't know if you felt this. She did seem to be good at everything.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like it was a bit like I think they in film terminology it's called like the Mary Sue complex, where you've got like a female character who doesn't have like any flaws whatsoever and is like really really good at like lots of things. And more recently, like Star Wars was blamed for that as well. But yeah, I did feel like Wednesday was like exceptional at like not just like academics but like literally everything, and it's sort of by the end I was like, okay, right, like yeah.
So that was my only thing. It was just like right at the end they made it seem like, wow, Wednesday, she's so incredible, she worked out this whole story. No, she didn't.
She got it wrong
twice. Right, she got someone falsely imprisoned.
She got someone in the hospital as well. Yeah,
because she was wrong. Right, she was no better than the audience in that.
Yeah. But also, did you guess who it was? I knew it from.
I think I did.
I knew it quite early on.
I think I did know.
Yeah.
When she first propped up, but maybe I didn't. I don't know. Again, I was like her. I suspected all three people.
yeah.
The point of the show. Yeah. So like,
you're more clever than Wednesday.
But that's what I'm saying. Like the way she went along the show would have been more impressive if she fucking got it first time. If there was like a standoff where she had to like choose one of them to like shoot or something, and she picked the right person, that would have been more impressive. If she like literally picked them first time. It was process of elimination by that point.
Yeah, but I guessed it quite early on because it's always like these mystery shows.
Sorry, mate.
Sorry, look at me, mate. Detective Lennon.
Yeah.
But like they're always like making it really obvious. Oh, this person's the villain. They sort of it's always the person you least expect. Sorry, just a side note. Have you seen Glass Onion?
I haven't, but I watched it.
Watch it. I need to. Have you seen the first Knives Out?
Yeah, I did watch it.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's better.
Apparently it's better.
I think it's better. Like, the first one, for me, like, I don't know, I think the gimmick of it was you find out who the killer is within the first 10, 15 minutes, and then it kind of goes from there. Didn't really work for me, but the second one, it's great.
I didn't like that either.
It's also hilarious as well. It's like really funny,
and
it's like good characters. So yeah, definitely give it a watch.
Daniel Craig's accent jars me, but like,
it's a bit weird, isn't it? I think because as Brits we're so used to him being Bond. That when he like does this detective voice, you know, it's like,
such a good impression.
Something is afoot. Yeah, definitely watch it. Definitely watch that. But yeah, did you have any recommendations for the week?
I did, just a very quick one.
Yeah, go on.
So if you know me and Rory well, sorry to speak for yourself, but Rory obviously you love films.
Film nerd,
and one of the things I love like loads is music. I'm really, really into like music and different types. So obviously I listen to a lot of mainstream stuff, but one thing I came across recently, a band I came across recently, which I fucking love, is a band called The Snuts. Something I mentioned them to you previously. Mate, they are so good. So I think they're a Scottish band, but they just make this indie kind of pop / rock music, and they are so, so good. So I'd really recommend it. If any of you do want to give that kind of vibe a go, listen to a song called...
Sorry, just to interrupt. What like band would you say they're most similar to?
I don't really know. I can't really compare. They're just really, really cool.
Okay, nice.
I'll have to think about that one. But yeah, if you want to give them a go, they're called the Snuts, SNUTS. Songs that I'd recommend: A Hallelujah Moment, and Always. The lead singer's got an incredible voice, and it's just like excellent.
Okay, nice. I'll check it out. Yeah, sounds good. Nice.
Yeah.
I have one more recommendation before we wrap up episode 1.
Go ahead.
It is, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have seen it already, but Avatar 2, The Way of Water.
Oh, you recommend it, really?
I would say it's not a perfect film, but I wanted to mention it because I think by the time this episode's released, it's going to have crossed the $2 billion mark at the global box office. So it's doing like super, super well. A lot of people were a little bit skeptical of whether it would perform well because, you know, Avatar came, it made $3 billion, it was the highest grossing film of all time, but then kind of slipped out of the cultural zeitgeist. Like, no one really talked about Avatar after it came out. Whereas Avatar 2's come out and it's done super well. So the top 6, I'm just going to read this out right. So the top 6 highest grossing films of all time. Number 1 is Avatar. Number 2 is Avengers Endgame. Number 3 is Titanic. Number 4 is Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Number 5 is Avengers Infinity War. And number 6 is Avatar The Way of Water.
Wow.
Right?
Amazing.
So, listen to this. James Cameron directed, obviously, both Avatar films.
Yeah.
He also directed Titanic.
So
50% of the top 6 films of all time he's directed.
Yeah, he's incredible.
He must... Mate, I would be the most arrogant man on the planet if I was him.
Sure.
Like, that is crazy.
He's cracked the film industry.
Like, it's absolutely mad.
Is there an award for that?
Of making the most money? I guess just the money is the reward, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like,
what other award do you need?
What other award do you need?
Congratulations, you made the most money. Yeah, I fucking know I did.
Yeah, fucking know. But apparently he's a cocky bastard. Apparently he was like, for the first Avatar, when he was filming it, obviously he'd made Titanic, which at the time was the number 1 film of all time. And they were making Titanic, and the company were like, "Oh, we want to cut this like flying scene out. It goes on a bit too long."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Listen. This is how much power." Listen here. My movies have paid for this building that we're in, so it's going to stay in.
Yeah.
Like, okay, fair.
Fair dude, sir.
Yeah, fair enough. And then with this film, I saw him in an interview, and like he seems like a nice guy, but in the interview, he was like, one of the journalists was like, "Oh, so what would you say is the best time to like go to the toilet because the film's 3 hours and 10 minutes?" And he was like, "Just go to the toilet whenever you want because you know I know you're going to watch it again." Like imagining that.
Wow.
That like
he's
like a lot of confidence. But as for the film itself, I don't think it's in my recommendations of the week because I wanted to talk about its performance and stuff. I think it's a good film, and I think it's in ways it's an improvement on the. Have you seen the first one?
Yeah.
It's an improvement on the first one. And Sarah, the visuals.
No, I need to watch it.
Fucking ridiculous. And I think the reason it's taken so long between the first film and this film is like the water effects. I think they've not for years they've got like really good CGI, but they've not mastered like CGI water and stuff. All the underwater scenes in 3D. I saw it in IMAX. Like it's mad. And I'd say I compare the film to like it's kind of like an amusement ride, like a roller coaster in in a nature documentary. Do you know what I mean? Like a lot of it, you're just sat there, oh, that's nice, that's good to look. And like, there's some really cool action in it and stuff like that. And visually, it's like incredible. But the story is like, I don't think it needed to be 3 hours and 10 minutes. Right. It's like when you actually break down what the story is and what the beats are, it's like, it's way too long. And like, I went to see it again actually last night with Kit. And the first time I was like, yeah, really good. I give it like an 8 out of 10. Went to see it last night and I thought I really felt the length of it. I was like, actually, it's quite long.
Fair.
And yeah, I think definitely watch it. And if you're going to watch it now and watch it like cinema. 3D, just a big screen as possible. Because I think when it comes on to Disney Plus or whatever it is, I don't think it will have the same impact.
The same effect, yeah.
Like it's one of those films that it's pure. You can't you purely base it off like the visuals and the story's there to accompany the visuals. But yeah, I think definitely give that a watch.
Okay, cool.
100%. But yeah, let us know what you thought of Avatar: The Way of Water.
Definitely.
Great.
Yeah.
Cool. Right, well, I think that might be the end. Yeah.
Well done, your one.
Yeah. Episode 1, we've done it. We made it.
We did it. Yeah. Made it through.
Love it.
Yeah.
Right, guys. Well, we hope you enjoyed our first episode of Larger Than Life.
Absolutely.
If you enjoyed it, please remember to leave a review, leave a like.
Yeah, rate us 5 stars. Even if you didn't think it was 5 stars, we'll get that. Trust me.
We'll get that.
Yeah.
Follow us on Instagram at largerthanlife_LTL.
That's the one.
And yeah, if there's any other beers you want us to try, if there's any other topics you want us to cover, please Instagram us, ping us.
Yeah,
we'll respond. Let us know. But yeah, hopefully we'll see you on the next Larger Than Life episode.
Thanks very much, guys.
Cheers. Guys.